Well, good morning and welcome. And for those of you who have seen me before and have been following, I do apologise. I haven't put a video out for 5 weeks, and you can probably tell from my voice it was just still not quite right. I have had a cold, basically, and acute sinusitis, and it has been the most debilitating experience I think I've ever had when it comes to basic common colds. So it really knocked me off my feet. And so I had planned to share preparations for Christmas, what I do, but I didn't do as much as I thought I was going to do because I wasn't fit enough, I wasn't well enough. And even I put up 3 command hooks to hold up a garland, and that was it, I was done. The hooks went up, the garland didn't. So yes, it's not been quite as I'd intended. But today what I want to talk about is some of the things I did to support myself to help recover from this cold and the sinusitis, and some of the things I should have done. Now, what I found really interesting was that my mind went completely blank. It's almost as though everything I'd learnt, it didn't even occur to me to think about it. And this is what I found so bizarre about this particular cold. It just switched me off completely. And it took some time before I thought, well, hang on, what am I doing? I should be doing something here. What can I be doing? So that's what I want to talk about today, what I did do and what I could have done that I didn't do. And I think if I had been able to switch on my brain earlier in this sort of with these symptoms, this virus, I probably would have recovered much quicker. As it was, I was at a low ebb anyway, which I knew I was because my hip wasn't recovering, and I was trying to address that, but it didn't even occur to me that my resilience was so low that I could catch a cold, and quite badly. So what I want to do is intersperse what I'm going to talk about, maybe with a few pictures of what I did do over Christmas. So just to show you, everything's a bit dried out now. I use fresh foliage. I did manage to do a bit, so I want to share that as well as I talk through, so you don't just have to look at me. So all being well, that's what you should see. So what did I do? Well, one of the first things I did, I had some fresh lemons and ginger, and so I steeped grated ginger and squeezed fresh lemon and put a piece of lemon, unwaxed of course and more scrubbed, in some boiled water, not boiling but boiled, so I let it stand for a little while. I added some local honey because I had some, and also a little bit of cinnamon, and I found that was very easing on my sore throat that I started off with, and really sort of that helped enormously with the sore throat part of it. The sinusitis was a complete experience. I was Mrs. Snothead, basically morning, noon and night. There was just no stopping it, and I was coughing, sneezing, blowing my nose, and I was just a complete mess. And that was the most debilitating because I couldn't sleep. I've been sitting up. I was almost able to lie down properly last night, but I've been sitting up for about 5 weeks, which has been hard on my backside actually. Another story. But yes, the sinusitis really affected my sleep, and that was one thing I've tried to get. I tried to rest and sleep whenever I could, because I didn't get enough sleep at night, and sleep is one of those most important things for recovery. So that's one thing I do recommend. I didn't give in to the cold initially. I was fighting it. It's the first time in my working life I've ever had to have a sick note, yeah, so I was off for 3 weeks basically, and I've been recovering over the Christmas period as well. But yeah, it's an experience I'd never had, and I didn't give in initially, so I really should have just relaxed a little bit more, because I was very tense thinking I've got to get back, I've got these things to do, all this stuff to do in preparation for Christmas. It's too busy a time, and I think fighting it didn't help because my resilience was already low. So letting myself then rest, really helped, and I started to see some movement there. But the whole process has been incredibly slow. And if you know of anybody who's had this virus or viruses, because I think it's a group, it's been particularly debilitating. So another thing I did, hot milk, but not milk. I was using almond milk. Milk in its own right can actually increase mucus, I believe. I've never checked that out. So I added in cinnamon, ginger, turmeric, clove, and I used essential oils, but you can use the spices and just filter it through perhaps a little bit of a coffee paper, a filter paper of some sort. But using the spices is a good idea, particularly keep them fresh, make sure they're no older than 6 months, because they will lose their active ingredients. So that was something else I did, and again, soothing. Helped me relax a bit as well, I found. And then in between that, I had plenty of hot drinks. It was like copious amounts of hot drinks, warm drinks, but nothing with milk, all sort of different kinds of herbal teas, or just hot water with lemon. I kept that coming because I knew I had to keep hydrating my body throughout. And then I learnt something. My breathing was so bad. My ability to breathe was impacted a lot, and the coughing, the phlegm on my chest. Normally, if I have a cold, I am one of those who does get very mucousy, sadly, and it usually moves quite readily. But this was quite tough. It was there but not moving. And I watched a video, which was an NHS video, about how to help move phlegm. And I tried it and it worked, so I want to share that with you. So you breathe normally, just normal breaths, and then you start to breathe in deeply. So you take a deep breath, hold it for about 4 seconds, and then breathe out through your mouth. And then you keep doing that for several breaths. I did it for about 5 or 6 breaths. Then breathe normally again. And then I started to deep breathe again and hold it. And then once I breathed out, it was huffing it out. So you breathe in, hold, and go. And you do rounds of that, breathing normally, and do one of those in between. And that really started to shift it. And that helped a lot. So I'm surprised after all these years, I learnt something. And how to start moving chesty phlegm. I also, unfortunately, pulled loads of muscles coughing, because it was uncontrollable at one point, and I think I've torn a muscle as well, because it's particularly bad on one side. But fortunately, my cold's drying up, so it's not so bad. So yeah, the breathing was incredibly useful, and yeah, I would recommend that, to try that. Another thing I tried, my husband put me onto this, is the nasal wash, and I hadn't really thought about it before. And it comes, this little kit, and it's a bottle. You fill it up with preferably distilled water. I boiled water and let it cool to about 38 degrees, I think it was. It tells you on the box. Then I added a saline solution that comes with it, and then you basically squirt it up one nostril, breathing through your mouth, and it comes out the other. So it's basically washing through your sinuses, your nostrils, and didn't have a great impact on me, but I could see its benefit, and I could see that if I'd used that at the beginning of the cold, maybe I could have kicked it into touch a bit earlier. So that was something I tried, and I will definitely be using again. I used a lot of essential oils as well, diffusing them to help me breathe. There's a certain blend I have with menthol and eucalyptus and peppermint, and I also rubbed it on my chest at night. I've used rubs to help my aching muscles, because the aches were pretty substantial as well. Headaches, I use peppermint essential oil on my temples and on my forehead for the headaches that came early on. And yeah, that's what I think. That's probably pretty much what I did. And more recently, now that I'm sort of recovering somewhat, I've started to take a supplement that I heard of to help support my energy levels, because my energy has been really hit. I feel mentally much fitter. Physically, yesterday was the first time I've walked the dogs on a proper interesting walk since I've been ill. Otherwise, we've just done a flat walk, or I've just taken them to the field behind and let them run. I haven't been able to go up a hill. Couldn't breathe properly to do that. But my energy levels have been pretty poor, so I've started to try. So this is not a recommendation from me, it's what I'm trying personally. I'm trying a spirulina and chlorella supplement. Spirulina is a bacteria, I understand, and chlorella is an algae. And the spirulina helps the mitochondria, the little powerhouses in our cells, to repair. When they become damaged, the electrical connections that occur to produce the energy can become too far apart, and therefore the connections don't connect. So it can help recover that, and also the chlorella can help bind with maybe some toxins or whatever's in there that is impeding the recovery. So I'm trying that, and I have to say I've been taking it for probably just over a week, missed a couple of days because I keep forgetting. And I feel as though my progress has improved. My energy levels are definitely better. And I'm not having an afternoon nap or sleeping during the day. Mostly, I've had 1 or 2 occasions in the last week. So that's what I've been doing. Now, what I could have done, and I haven't been doing, this year I haven't been taking vitamin D supplementation throughout the autumn, which normally I do. I start sort of October time and start to take some supplementation. I haven't done that this year. Maybe that's a mistake. Maybe my levels are low. Maybe I should test myself on that, to get myself tested and see where my levels are. So that's number one thing that I find generally helps me. Number 2, I didn't have any vitamin C in the house. I've got fruits and vegetables and that sort of thing, which I've been making sure I get. But usually if I get a cold, if I've got vitamin C, I up a dose of that because I find it helps. Some of the science says it's ridiculous and it doesn't, but I think it can depend on the quality of the supplement as well. It's not worth buying supermarket ones. It really isn't. You know, when they say you're peeing out the money you spent, yeah, there's an element of truth, I would say, when supplements are not. If they're food-based, you've got a better opportunity of utilising those components, those active components in there, and your body knows what to do with them. If it's synthetic, it's not worthwhile. So vitamin C is something else I would normally try, but didn't have. And the echinacea tea, now I've found that particularly good in the past. Again, I think it's very rich in vitamin C and other compounds. I haven't double checked what, but echinacea tea was one thing I didn't have in the cupboard, and I have found in the past that has just kicked a cold over the edge, and recovery's been quicker. So they're the things I could have done. I did look for medical help, which is unusual for me. That's Lulu, thinking somebody might be outside, and that's another story in its own right. That turned into a quest to actually see a doctor, and yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it was viral. You just have to work your way through it. We did think there was an element of a bacterial infection coming in, but I did take antibiotics. It didn't make a difference, so it clearly was just viral, and that bacterial infection we thought was coming either was kicked into touch because of the antibiotics, or it wasn't there in the first place. So that was a decision I'd made. I normally wouldn't take antibiotics unless I absolutely have to. And it's probably been about 15 years since I last took any, and it has disrupted my gut. I'm not taking probiotics through. Lulu, come here, sweetie. I'm not going to take probiotics to help recover there. I did see some science a while back which showed that if you allow your gut to recover naturally, it's much quicker. And you just have to make sure that you eat lots of good, fresh foods, avoid sugars and processed foods completely. You know, and I started off with cabbage soup and with ginger in it. That was nice. It sounds awful, doesn't it, cabbage soup, but actually it's very tasty. So I started off with that to recover my gut, and it's not quite there. It's much better now. That's probably about 3-4 weeks ago, and I reckon it will take about 6 weeks in total to recover. But yeah, that's my poorly Christmas. So what I want to really focus on going forward from here is my health, and which is something I always want to focus on, but I'm going to give it extra focus going forward. And after Christmas, with all the indulgence, because yes, you know, I'm a human, I like to indulge as well. I really want to make sure that I give my body everything it needs for recovery and for it to thrive. So I hope you'll join me on that little journey of just changing things up a bit and looking to see what I can do from food-wise, exercise-wise, because I need to rebuild some of the muscle I've lost as well. And yes, and thank you very much for joining me today. I would like to take this opportunity to say I'm sorry I didn't wish you a happy Christmas, but I do want to wish you a very happy new year and hope it brings you everything that you wish in your life. I look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Say bye. Good girl. Yes. I like your cuddles. Thank you, darling.